So all of us have heard about Krishna's flute, right? So what does Krishna's flute symbolize? What is Krishna's flute a metaphor for? It could be his instrument to play, but classically? Harmony. The sound of Krishna's flute is joy, is the attraction the divine exerts on the human soul. So they say the call of the flute, and it's typified in Krishna's story where he used to just play the flute, and there are endearing stories of how the gopis and gopas, the moment he would start playing, they would drop everything. They would leave their half work undone, leave everything and just rush around him. And then Krishna was asked that you play the flute and the whole village hears you. How come only some people go mad hearing your flute? You're playing, everyone hears it. Why does it not attract everyone? So Krishna answers that I'm calling everyone. My call is to everyone. I'm playing the flute so that everyone can hear it. But there are only some people whose hearts are open enough to respond to the call and come to me. So there's that beautiful line in Savitri, if the chamber's door is even a little ajar, what then can hinder God from stealing in, or who forbid his kiss on the sleeping soul? But the problem is we need to have our chamber's door that little bit open, like the gopis and gopas. They would hear the flute and they'd come running, but it's not like everyone in the village would be able to do that because they hadn't opened their doors. So I want you to think for a moment, how has each of us heard the call of the flute? The call of the flute is the attraction of the human soul to the divine, that occult attraction, that invisible attraction. So when do you feel you could have heard it? If you need a backrest, you can come here. When do you feel you could have heard it? Or when was the first time anyone heard it? See, there's a very beautiful line in the song Amazing Grace. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. The first time you felt that, yeah, there is something beyond, and you felt a pull to reach out for it. How many of you can recollect the first time, even if you can? Would anyone like to share? No? Yes, come. They'll be able to hear you. Yeah, speak.
So the first time I experienced consciousness was I was going for a walk with a friend. And back then I didn't know anything about spirituality. I was going through anxiety neurosis, I remember back then. We were both very quiet.
Huh.
Yeah. We were both very quiet then. We were walking through a forest and it's very difficult to put into words. So there came a stage where both of us were quiet, and then I started looking at a tree, fixed my gaze there, and suddenly I felt like I am that tree. Then the tree next to it, and a point came where I felt like I was the entire forest. So that was my first experience. It lasted for about 5 to 6 minutes, not too long, but it was beautiful, to lose your sense of self for that time. And then suddenly, then I came back to myself, back to the anxiety.
But something in you would have shifted for good after that. Something.
Of course. After that, there was that yearning to feel that thing once again, to experience that oneness once again.
Yeah.
So it has, I am chasing that. I don't know when I will get
Don't chase it. See, when you weren't looking for it, it came to you.
True.
Beautiful. So, yeah, the call of the flute comes to us in different ways, and Sri Aurobindo tells us that if man could once glimpse the riches of spiritual treasure that await him, he would leave everything and want nothing else. Like the Gopas and Gopis, no, when Krishna played the flute, they just left everything. They didn't care whether the in-laws would be upset, whatever would happen, they would just come. So that as Krishna says, he's playing the flute for everyone. But do we have an opening in our heart to hear it and come, or are we always choosing the call of the world over the call of the flute?